Former Trudeau Foundation head says engaging with Chinese officials was naive. This is the Great White North Report. So I've been keeping an eye on this story for a while now. I knew about it in 2016, and everything was pretty hushed up until the last year and a half. But it's become a pretty big scandal considering that the Chinese interference in our elections has come about, and this probably might have been the start of it under the Liberal Party. So in 2016, there was a donation from two donors at a Trudeau fundraiser. Both these men had ties to the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP. And originally the donation was worth 200,000 Canadian dollars. And this was donated shortly after he attended a fundraiser with the Prime Minister, so he had access to the Prime Minister. It was $1,500 a plate to attend this fundraiser. That's an expensive fundraiser. Who's got that kind of money to throw around at a fundraiser other than big business? So wealthy Chinese businessman Zhang Bin, who lives in Toronto, or is a Canadian citizen anyway, from what I could gather, is also a political advisor to the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. And he was present at this fundraiser. He is the president of a state-approved China Cultural Industry Association. I don't know what a China Cultural Industry Association is other than tourism. Probably bringing in Chinese tourists into Toronto and showing them around, but also keeping a close eye on them. Maybe. And he's president of the Toronto-based Shanglin Financial Group. Well, a financial group would have access to your records, whoever invests or does business with them. Not a good scenario there. So another Chinese businessman, Shanglin Jian, was seeking approval by federal regulators for his bank to operate in Canada. Wealth One Bank was given final approval a few months later in July of 2016. How much was his attendance at a fundraiser with the Prime Minister? How much of that played into this? We won't know. We'll never know the truth of that. Going back to Zhang Bing and a business partner of his, Niall Genshin, they finalized a $1 million Canadian deal with Trudeau. $200,000 was going to the Trudeau Foundation. $750,000 Canadian dollars was going to the University of Montreal Law Faculty, which I believe is Trudeau's alma mater. This is supposed to be for scholarships and whatnot. And $50,000 Canadian was to go to build a statue of Pierre Elliott Trudeau. Really? So we're going to get a statue of Pierre Elliott Trudeau at a time when we tore down and defaced our founding father, Sir John A. Macdonald. From Kingston, he got removed back in 2021. In 2016, they're going to put up a new statue of a guy who did even less for Canada. So that's disturbing in the least. So during the hearings they've been having lately, Morris Rosenberg, the former president and CEO of the Pierre Elliott Trudeau Foundation, says in retrospect, the embattled charity was naive to think it would have soft power over China when it accepted money in 2016 with ties to the Chinese government. Canada has no hold over China right now. We don't have any soft power with China. China does not take us seriously. To them, we're just a tribute state and a puppet of the United States. They look at us as tributary, meaning we should be giving to them. And we have. We've given so much foreign aid to them over the years. They've given us nothing but a headache. So there was a belief that engaging with Chinese officials would familiarize them with Canadian governance, rule of law, and human rights. They don't look at it that way. When you're selected to join the Communist Party of China, you're there for life and you're there to make your money. You're allowed to make money when you become part of the CCP. The corruption in the CCP is unbelievable, and they're there for life, unless they get kicked out from up top, which does happen from time to time at purges. Here in Canada, when you're in the government, especially if you're an elected official, you can be gone in 4 years. The rule of law does not exist in China. The rule of law is whatever the CCP decides it is going to be. That's what a dictatorship is. These guys are idiots. Human rights. Yeah, like that ever worked in China. That was the whole thing when we opened up China in the 1970s. The idea was we were trying to drive a wedge between them and the Soviets in the Cold War. That's what it was, pure and simple. Big business also wanted to go in, use their cheap labor to help make more money. That was the other thing. Human rights was at the bottom of the priority list for most people. China was looking for a way to modernize. It was a peasant country at the time in the 70s, far behind the rest of us. Now it's caught up in a lot of ways. Thanks to us, we helped China so they could sell the rope to hang ourselves. So Rosenberg is under investigation, and the Access to Information Privacy and Ethics Committee has been investigating whether a promise of $200,000 to the foundation was part of an influence campaign by the Chinese government to get to Prime Minister Trudeau. $200,000 is nothing. That's a drop in the bucket for them. They probably did it and saw where it went, and then continued to do that until it crescendoed in 2021 when the foreign interference. I believe they interfered directly in our elections, but not to a point where it was going to really change the outcome that much. They mostly targeted areas that had a heavy Chinese-Canadian presence. So big cities. So let's say anywhere from 10 to 20 seats in the House of Commons would have had some kind of pressure from the Chinese Communist Party. But it could affect the balance of power if it was one or two, if it's a close election. And Trudeau is a narcissist who it doesn't take much to stoke his ego. So the donation was attributed originally to two Chinese businessmen, Zhang Bin and Nidu Gensheng. But it was later reported payment was made from Bin's company, Millennium Golden Eagle International. And it's which is one of the executive board members and was created with the approval of China's Culture Ministry. Anything with China with the approval of the CCP is not good for us. Now, Rosenberg defended himself saying that it's not that we were naive that we were dealing with these people that were linked to the Chinese government, because just about everyone was. We're naive because we actually believed by dealing with them that we'd have soft power influence on them. No, other way around. They would have soft power influence over us. And that's exactly what happened. And it shows just the amount of ego that Trudeau and his organization have, which shows their incompetence. Trudeau is not competent. Our country's foreign policy has been a complete disaster since he took over. Now, of course, they tried to return this money. Why would you return the money? I would have given it to Kovrig and Spavor. So with $50,000 going to a statue of Pierre Trudeau, it made me wonder, where is the statue? Where do we build it? At a time when we're actually tearing down our statues of our founding fathers and other historical figures from our past in the cancel culture war. And then we're going to put a statue up. According to this article 2 months ago, Chinese billionaire who donated $1 million to Trudeau Foundation wanted to build a Mao statue in Montreal. That would show the ego of the Chinese Communist Party. They think they could make a Mao statue. A guy who killed 75 million of his own people through his own stupidity. What he wanted to do was to build a joint monument featuring the dictator Mao Zedong and the former Canadian Prime Minister of the University of Montreal. So it still doesn't tell me where the statue is. But if it's in Montreal, thank God we never built that statue. But anyway, will this be the scandal that knocked down the Liberal Party and bring us into another election? Probably not, because the NDP, they know where their gravy train lies. They have the Liberals over the barrel right now, and it's a supply and support thing. The NDP are getting a little bits of their own agenda mixed in with the Liberal agenda for their support. And Singh knows that he's never going to win an election, but he's hoping to get enough support to become the minority party leader in the House of Commons instead of just a third party. So we'll see if this scandal actually brings down the Liberal Party in the reign of Justine, or we'll get another 2 years of this clown. Any Canadians out there, let me know what you guys think of this scandal. Leave comments in the comment section. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and until next time, this has been the Great White North Report.